Hey y'all, Caress the Goddess here. Welcome back to Seven Heaven. So, I don't think Nick Reiner did this alone. He's the son of Rob Reiner, who was just killed the other day, and he's the suspect in his murder. But I think he acted with somebody. He's born September 14th, 1993, and he's a sidereal Leo and a tropical Virgo. I personally think this reeks of organized crime. Now, I'm not going to say that Rob Reiner, now he's born March 6th, 1947, and Michele Reiner, she's born March 3rd, 1957. So they were 10 years apart, both sidereal Aquariuses and tropical Pisces. So, I mean, this is pretty damn specific. Celebrity couple, assassination inside home. So this checks out. But I really think it comes down to, like, Rob Reiner, he was working on a documentary about the Trump-Putin connection. And Trump kind of historically didn't like Rob Reiner because Rob would criticize Trump openly, would say he's the worst thing that could happen to this country, things like that. And this was back in 2016. So Rob Reiner, and I mean, y'all, I'm sure you've gotten the rundown by now, but he's the director of movies like Stand By Me and A Few Good Men and When Harry Met Sally and Misery, you know, so like major director. But he would criticize Trump, and he was working on this documentary. So I think it's important to keep in mind that even though Nick, he came through as very crazy to me, and we'll pull more cards as we go along, but I wanted to just be able to jump right in. He shows signs of schizophrenia. So I think he has some abilities as well, but I think somebody was weaponizing this. I think somebody was very much weaponizing it. And I think everything's just kind of pointing to somebody else. Somebody else was helping with this. And I think somebody picked up on those issues that he has. He was in and out of rehab, I think 18 times by around 2016, whenever Trump was being elected, and they were Becoming Charlie was the film that Nick Reiner wrote and his dad directed. And so this was supposedly a big bonding experience for them. But I think somebody really weaponized his mental illness and triangulated it against the parents. I do think if that's his hand, what's coming through really is like, he wouldn't have, home felt like a prison, but he wouldn't have done this save for somebody else involved. I do hear that he was very suicidal. Okay, so he's healing from his drug addiction. Y'all see these? He's healing from his drug addiction, but he was very suicidal. So somebody lit that fire here. Somebody lit that fire that enabled him to kind of be able to do what he did. Now, there was an argument between them. There was a big argument between them, supposedly. I think they said at Conan O'Brien's Christmas party, which is also very interesting to me that they name dropped like that, because why is it necessary? But there was a big argument that kind of split them. And I really think this was somebody else's way of triangulating. This was someone else's way of triangulating. Who really knows why? I mean, every time somebody gets unexpectedly killed in Hollywood these days, it seems like they were always working on a documentary of some sort. But he was working on a documentary about the Trump-Putin connection. So in his tropical Pisces, we have a few cards that are showing his energy and a few cards that are showing his wife's energy, Michele. Both Pisces cards here, okay? And this. Now, they showed up in the energy, but I really don't think that this isn't it's not what you think, is what I got from the Pisces in reverse. The Pisces card in reverse. Because they're both tropical Pisces. And this is, I purposely flipped all the deck right side up for this, and this card still came upside down. So I know there's some kind of, and Pisces is, I mean, that's the sign of illusion here. So not only are we dealing with two Pisces victims, but there's an illusion about the homicide. And the illusion is like the opposite of what people think, okay, y'all? So we have this too. I mean, there could have been a financial component as well. A financial component and a political component. So somebody weaponized this, like, basically sick, drug addicted, yes, selfish kid, but, you know, someone weaponized his paranoia against him and triangulated him into doing this to his parents, okay? But it's very much motivated by something. Abuse also came through, okay? So, like, when we think of this kind of ritualized abuse that sometimes happens in Hollywood, we've seen, if y'all seen like Eyes Wide Shut, that sort of thing. And I'm not saying, I hate to say this about like a recent victim of such a terrible crime. And of course we saw in the Menendez case recently where the men were accusing the dad of sexual abuse and that's what drove him to it. It's never an excuse, okay? It's never an excuse, but because of the years that Rob Reiner was active in the 80s and 90s, and because just, you know, likeliness of Hollywood, when you're the top of the top of the top of execs and directors like that, you've either seen some things, been around some things, maybe participated in some things that we on the outside wouldn't necessarily know about, okay, or come across. So we have to think about, I don't know, I got that there was abuse coming through that tower. I'm hearing it's an executive kind. I'm not saying that this is done only familially, even though that's possible, but I'm just saying, like, this is in an environment of neglect, abuse happens. So something happened to him at the hands of somebody in that world, okay? And so this is another thing that kind of made stuff lie dormant. Yeah, that's another card that came out when I asked about the abuse. You see this body. Not only is it half nude, but it's also just like, it's completely anatomical. Okay, and this, I mean, we have this devil card too. So it's, I mean, that's satanic ritualized abuse, I think it's called, that a lot of people practice who are in some darker circles and stuff. It's very dark, y'all. It's very dark, but I do have a feeling, and this was an earlier download, but around Halloween, I wanted to watch Misery. I got the itch to watch Misery, and then I ended up watching The Shining instead and going down the whole rabbit hole of Eyes Wide Shut. But I think that pivot from Misery into basically Eyes Wide Shut was a clue here, because this was a while ago. And I think there was either some, again, it doesn't have to be because of the parents, but I do think that there was some exposure to people who were the product of some kind of abuse, parties, anything. Just, it could have been simply because of neglect, simply because, like, he went in the wrong room at the wrong time. But he was exposed to some stuff pretty early and made to feel like Frankenstein. That was another download I got. Nick feels like Frankenstein. He feels, why did you create me if you don't love me, okay? And so that, someone played upon that to get him to do what he did. But assassination came out, not just homicide. So somebody really preyed upon him and almost triggered him to do this. His energy showing up here too. I mean, he was in and out of rehab, but somebody really triggered him to do this and kind of take the fall and like sync with it. And y'all know, like, somebody, I hate to use the word narcissistic because everybody's narcissistic now, but it's just like, if you're that self-absorbed, then, what was it? Sorry, I got an email. Yeah, neglect. I don't know. Neglect happens. Neglect happens. And, I mean, you wouldn't notice this stuff is going on with your son, but he's coming up here multiple times. And it's like, they knew. They knew, and he blames them. But somebody else had a hand in this. I'm really seeing and feeling that somebody else had a hand in it. He is the fall guy. He helped accomplish it, but he's not the one who did it alone or necessarily motivating it. I'm not saying that he couldn't, but it also looks odd to me that like and that's what's so funny to me too. This assassination card has a knife on it. It has a knife on it, and he stabbed them, which I think is very interesting. Because it doesn't say the homicide card looks different. Where's Miss Homicide? So they both, that's so funny. 2 knives came out. See, this is why it's like it's like I almost can't start early enough because so many symbols will pop up. But there's 2 knives for more than one killer. And it's like, yes, it was a homicide, double homicide, but like couple, literally. Celebrity couple assassination inside home. Related to our justice here. It's all there. Someone helped with this. But there is. I really did get a strong sense of just there was abuse or abuse adjacent. And even though that can make somebody snap someday, there's someone else. Let's see if we can get a card about. And I could do a part 2 on this also, y'all, but we'll just ask a couple more questions. What do we have for... Who is a party that acted with Nick? Are there any parties involved with Nick? Can we have a card for them? Shh. 3 of Wands. That's so funny. I literally said any parties involved. And it's this literal birthday party, and they're busting inside the home. So this was somebody, they said there was no signs of forced entry, maybe because Nick let them in, but this is somebody outside of the home who's trying to barge in. This was somebody outside of their immediate circle. And that's this one too, because that's Nick's card here with the Hermit, Virgo card. See everyone trying to barge in. So there's someone from outside the home that came in to do this. Can we have another card for the secondary party involved? Y'all let me know if you want me to do a part 2, but it's interesting. Can we have a card for the secondary party involved? We have a couple. Ooh, okay. So this could be somebody he met in rehab. Someone he met in rehab. Possibly really could be a woman they used to manipulate him. And again, we had that fraud and insurance money too. Or, yeah, insurance, life insurance. So possible that he was tempted with a woman of some kind. And of course it's here. Yep, y'all. That mind control card. You know, I think his name was Jubilant Sykes, a famous opera singer, was killed by his son a span of hours, like only a couple hours later. Also, I think that was a stabbing. But I knew this one would come out, y'all. I knew this one would come out. Let me know if you want me to do a part 2 on this. But that's the bottom line for now, y'all. Like, comment, subscribe, share, all that good stuff. And I'll see y'all on the next one. Thank you so much for watching. Bye-bye.